When Cirque du Soleil launched its still-running show Ka at the Las Vegas MGM Grand Casino in 2004, it wanted to dazzle audiences with a spectacle unlike anything they'd seen before. Ka showcased Cirque du Soleil's signature acrobatic and aerial stunts and was conceived and directed by lauded Canadian theater artist Robert Lepage. The performance venue itself was designed to heighten the drama of the show, with performers doing some acts as high as 75 feet in the air. A series of 7 platforms serve as the stage, some moving back and forth and flipping to become fully vertical. The culminating act, the battle scene, is a showdown between good and evil, in which the opposing groups perform martial arts and flip against a vertical stage before the evil spearmen rise out of sight after being defeated.
And the idea is that they meet on a battlefield and the audience is put in the perspective of viewing it from above. And the only way we can make it viewed from above when everybody is sat in one plane is to create the stage to go vertical.
To do that, Cirque du Soleil commissioned special rigging and harness systems. The show's technical staff includes dozens of personnel who work backstage and on catwalks above the performance space. Technical staff routinely check the harnesses and cables that are meant to enable artists to complete gravity-defying acts and keep them safe from harm. But the checks and balances that Cirque du Soleil put in place proved insufficient in one instance. In June of 2013, Cirque artist Sarah Guillot-Guillard plummeted 94 feet to her death after the cable attached to her safety harness shredded during the climactic battle scene. Cirque was issued a citation and $7,000 fine following an OSHA investigation into the accident, and it launched a broad reevaluation of safety practices at the 30-year-old company. In a 2005 film Cirque du Soleil produced documenting the creation of Ka, staff acknowledged the level of risk in the show.
It's not the traditional circus number, so there's a big element of unknown zone. Even though we train very sort of carefully, there's still an area that everything can happen. It's probably one of the most dangerous shows that I've been on.
The stakes were high because while performing aerial acts high in the air, the only thing keeping Cirque artists safe was the cable. As is the case with many circus aerial acts, there was no safety net below. Before assuming roles in acts like the battle scene, Cirque du Soleil artists went through a training program to learn the ins and outs of the aerial equipment, including a joystick that allowed them to control the speed at which they could ascend.
From a superficial point of view, I was taught well. Yeah, like what a carabiner is, what a carabiner gate is, how you have to handle a harness, and also like the joysticks and in-ear radio, you know, that you're always in contact with some stage management in case something goes wrong.
Sarah Harding Traverso, who played numerous roles in Ka over the course of 6 years as a Cirque cast member, says that even after feeling properly trained, she still got nervous during the riskier acts.
Climb always challenged me. I always felt like, okay, let's do it, Sarah. And I also knew that there were so many variables and so much room for error, so much risk, that I needed to be really on my game every single time.
Despite rigorous training, records reveal that performers in Ka suffered a high number of injuries which required medical attention. In fact, a WSJ analysis found that Ka had 56 injuries per 100 workers in 2012, the most recent year for which data was available, which is 4 times the average injury rate for professional sports teams, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Cirque du Soleil recognized that one of the most dangerous roles in Ka was the spearman role in the battle scene. The spearmen exit at high speed vertically, meaning they could potentially crash into a catwalk above the performance space. Daniel Riffner, who played the spearman role, grew increasingly concerned about his safety with every performance, despite his training and 25 years of experience as a gymnast.
I got that fear in my stomach the more and more I did that number. So the last time I did my number, I was like so glad I got off stage because I feel how often can you challenge your luck?
Riffner says he didn't want to think about the risks while on stage, but he also felt that the pressure to perform at a high level created an environment in which it was difficult to raise concerns. Callum Pearson, who was previously a company manager for Ka, says he can't speak to the specifics of Mr. Riffner's experience, but he says he believes the company provides the opportunity for performers to reach out if they have safety concerns.
Our training is pretty extensive. It's pretty, you will probably hear artists concerned more that we're being too overly cautious on our safety procedures compared to other places that they've come from and worked before, but it's all a necessary step We have a specific number of checks that they have to achieve. And even once they've done those, it's then a conversation between the coach and the artist. Okay, we feel you're ready. Do you feel you're ready?
I felt like the coaches did a really good job of assessing, were you ready? I didn't feel there was a pressure to necessarily perform when I wasn't ready. Cirque du Soleil takes its safety measures very, very seriously.
Sarah Guillot-Guillard was scheduled to perform the Spearman role twice on the day that she died. It was the first day she performed the role before an audience.
And on the first show, she messed up on that and we had to stop the show. The rigger that was there saw that she was having difficulty, called a pause on the show. The stage management met with her afterwards and said, you know, do you understand, are you okay?
During the second performance, a series of errors and malfunctions led to her death, according to Cirque and the Nevada OSHA investigation. When the spearmen lined up to fly out backwards, Miss Guillot-Guillard was already 8 feet above the others when she should have been even with them, witnesses said. Using her joystick, she rose faster than normal, according to Cirque officials. Her rigger was still clipping his own harness into his safety line, so he didn't push out her line as he was supposed to. Ms. Guillot-Guillard slammed against the catwalk, causing the safety wire to come out of its pulley and scrape against a sharp edge, ripping apart. Cirque du Soleil cut the battle scene immediately following the fatal accident, but more than a year later, a revamped version was introduced that included new safety systems and revised choreography. The number of artists flying through the air was also reduced. Questions remain, though, about whether KA pushes the limits of high-flying daredevil stunts too far.
Cirque du Soleil knows that when they contract artists and they put together these acrobatic acts, that there's risk involved. I think all the necessary precautions were being taken care of, or at least addressed. As an artist, you know that you're choosing to do a profession or taking on a profession that is extraordinarily physical, and there is a lot of wear and tear on your body.
As an audience member, you don't see the little bruises, you know, or you don't see the concussions that people get. There are a lot of little things artists do in KA where the juice is not worth the squeeze.